Hello and welcome to Skeindeer. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. And you can find me as Skeindeer on Instagram and Ravelry. And I want to wish you a big welcome to this podcast, whether you are a new viewer or an old viewer. And I just want to thank you all. I want to thank old viewers for sticking with me during this kind of awkward time of the podcast. And I want to thank new viewers for actually giving me a chance despite the fact that I've essentially started every episode lately by saying I'm not doing too well, and thing is I am doing worse. Why I've not really been recording as regularly as I used to. I used to do it every Thursday every week, and that's not been the case lately. And I've been traveling a lot as well as part of the reason, which is a good reason. But as I've returned to London, I've suffered a bit of a setback for very specific reasons, because of things that's happened, and it's made me kind of unable to podcast at the time that I prefer to podcast, because I usually podcast in the morning, and mornings are the worst right now. But as I'm sure many will be delighted to hear, I'm not going to spend too much time dwelling on these things in this episode, because there are way too many other things to cover, and I am hoping that that is just going to make me cheer up, because it's just all about yarn and nothing really makes me happier right now. So yeah, shall we just get into that? Before anything, I just want to remind people or inform people that I am hosting the Selbu Mitten Club, and this might be the very reason you have landed on this podcast, in which case welcome. I decided to start a mitten club. I'm going to tell you the full story, why not? It doesn't hurt repeating. I started deciding a mitten pattern for a Norwegian mitten class here in London that I've been asked to host. I realised I needed a pattern of my own that was useful for teaching colourwork newbies to knit colourwork, and I decided to do mittens because a short circumference project, while a bit cumbersome, is faster. So I decided on Selbu mittens because Selbu is a village near from where I'm from. It's just an hour's drive, which in Norway is like nothing, and yeah, I just love those mittens, and they are very near and dear to a lot of Norwegians' hearts, and has a bit of an international reputation as well. I think it's because a lot of Selbu villagers emigrated from there to the States, so it's kind of spread across the world. So I decided though to make those mittens, and I launched them either was late last year or in January, I don't quite remember, maybe it was January, and it was a huge success actually. I did a cal for it. It was a lot of fun, and I thought there's a lot of people for this cal that are making these mittens several times, so I decided, well, I'll just make several patterns that you can knit in the same gauge, you know, equally quick. You just go with the same yarn needle size and you make several different mittens, and I did that, and I thought it'd be cool to have a bundle, it'd be cool to have a subscription club. So I decided to kind of have that for the autumn, make it a bit of a sort of Christmas gift, a knitting thing that obviously it doesn't have to be, but it certainly helps a lot of people get gifts made in time for Christmas or for whatever other gift holiday you may or may not be doing. So that is the thing. We have the first pattern, the Selbu mittens. They're already out because they were launched earlier, obviously. And then the first pair of this club, that was the Mabel mittens. I'm pronouncing that funny because I've got a funny nose. And the second pair was the nail mittens. And I want to thank you so much for receiving them so well. I get super nervous every time a new pair of mittens comes out, because obviously this is something people have paid for in advance before seeing them, and so it is so heartwarming to just have them so well received when they come out. And the next pair of mittens, the Flora mittens, are coming out on the 1st of November, which actually is just half a month away, which gives me a slight panic of how fast time is really passing. So that was the mitten club. I also have some patterns out that may or may not have led you to this podcast, and that is the Yggdrasil mitts and the pumpkin spice mittens. And I want to give some special attention to the Yggdrasil mitts because I launched them around the time the last episode came out, and then I've been away in Norway since then, and then I've not really talked to you guys here during that time they've been out. And so I wanted to thank everybody for giving such crazy amount of support for this pattern. Like, these mittens, I feel like they are everywhere as well, alongside the mitten club itself. I always thought it was a bad idea for me to launch other patterns alongside the club patterns, but it seems to have been the complete opposite, and people have time for everything, it seems, so that is very, very, yeah, it's a huge compliment, that's what I'm trying to say. So these are the mitts in question. They got a funny little Norwegian thumb gusset, which I think is such a neat feature on these. Excuse me, I just had a bit of Pepsi. There's a bit of bubbles. So there is that. I do actually have another just on paper design in this kind of format that I made when I was developing these, and I kind of scrapped it. But in hindsight, I kind of like it. So I might have a think about that. We'll see. Anyway, that just occurred to me literally right now. Also, I can talk about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a Marius. This is the Marius Yoke. I think it's made for Sandnes Sisu. See, none of these have names, these patterns. They have numbers depending on which booklet they're in. So they're numbered by the order in the booklet. It's just horrible. They should come up with names for them. This is the fingering weight yoke that they have. They tend to have several categories of yarns, Sandnes. So they got kind of the DK worsted bunch, which is like their Bergen, alpaca, smart, alpaca wool, and those yarns are kind of the thicker group. And then you got the thinner group, which is Tove, Sandnes, thin alpaca, some of the other yarns. So this is for the thinner yarns of theirs, and they tend to do that. They have the 22 stitch gauge for the thicker yarns and the 27 stitch gauge for the thinner yarns, and that's kind of just how they operate across the board, it seems. So this is for the thinner one, and I use Drops Baby Merino. And yes, I know. I always say, you know, superwash merino not the best for colour work, and I stand by that, but it's about what's optimal, right? If you want the optimal result for colour work, then yes, using rustic yarns is the best way to go about it, but it doesn't mean that you can't use anything else. It just has to be an informed decision, which is something I've said before. So this is what it looks like in superwash merino. So you don't get the sort of holistic fabric here. You can sort of see it's a bit gappy, but I also think if you want to use superwash yarns, using more dense gauge is the better way to go about it. So this is a 27 stitch gauge, and that is quite dense, whereas if I was to use a non-superwash kind of woolly or sticky yarn in the same weight, I'd actually want to knit it looser, because it just is sticky enough to make a holistic fabric anyway. So I think that's, yeah, when I use superwash, it tends to just end up being heavier garments because they have to be knit more tightly, and so I need to use more meters of yarns essentially. And about this sweater, I'm not very happy about this. I don't like big open necklines, and it is completely just lacking a short row shaping for the neck, so it's so low in the back. I just like, don't like it, so I need to fix that. It's easier to rip out. It's a bottom up sweater, so just need to rip it out and make the short rows and redo the rib and maybe have a few stitches and just get on with it. But I keep avoiding doing that because I want to knit new things. So I just want to cover the knit alongs that are going on very briefly. There is the flea knit along that I'm co-hosting with Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast, which is ending on the 31st of October, and I want to remind everybody that there is a FO thread in my group, and you have to post there if you want to be part. And I know so many people have finished their project, but they're not put their finished object in that thread, and it's partly due to me because I made the thread a bit later, but you need to post there ASAP. And there's the Marius Cal. This is the Marius sweater. It's one of the many eligible patterns for the knit along, and the knit along is going all across the winter. I was going to make some sweaters for that myself, but that has not happened yet, and so it's still going. So you're welcome to join there. There's plenty of time. It's a good way to jump into color work garments, because I think this is a very newbie friendly chart. It's memorizable, short floats. The longest floats you'll ever come across are across 5 stitches, and they only up in here and here, so it's pretty good. And I also would like to inform you guys that there will be another knit along coming. I know, crazy, but I have been talking about making a mystery Christmas knit along, and that will happen. I am kind of drafting the pattern on Ravelry. The pattern itself is actually written up, and with some test knitters it's split into 5 separate cues and 1 general information sheet. And the way I'm making it so that the pattern just grows every time you get a cue. I'm not going to have separate cues or anything. It just, every cue release date you get a slightly bigger chunk of the pattern, so it's just going to continue on. I think that's the best way to do it. In case you fall behind, you know, then you don't have to like have separate cues that you have to deal with. You just get the latest version. I think that is pretty good. And yeah, the other interesting thing is that I will be making kits for those, so in collaboration with Wild and Woolly in London, in Lower Clapton in London, will be having mitten kits. So if you are in the UK or here in London, certainly, then you can get kits. I don't think they're ready yet because Anna of Wild and Woolly, she's talking to James and Smiths about ordering some of more of the 2-ply jump away yarns. So essentially you should only need 1 skein of each colour, and there will be 3 colours in these mittens. And I will just have more information out when I put the Ravelry pattern page up. But that is a thing that will be happening. And the queue release will be a bit chop. There will be 1 to 2 queues per week. But it's up to you if you want to do the mittens concurrently or one at a time. And if it's one at a time, it's actually not that much knitting you need to do between each queue. However, if you are scared of falling behind, don't worry. The cow will go on until the end of the year. So it doesn't matter if you are a bit behind. I just need the queues to come out rapidly because of things in my personal life. So first queue will come out on the 19th of November. Which is the earliest that I can do it, and the reason I am having the last queue come out on the 3rd of December is because people obviously want to wear their Christmas mittens when it's Christmas. Having said that though, they're not overly Christmassy. They're very faint on the symbolism, I want to say. Like, there is some Scandinavian Christmas gist to it, but it's not like, you know, Santa Claus and baby Jesus everywhere. It's not. It's very, very subtle. You can wear it in January and February, and if you are a bit of a Grinch, then they might be for you as well. So just want to put that out there. It literally just occurred to me that I obviously have some winners to announce for the giveaways of 2 shawl patterns that I have been donated. So the first is a winner for the black tie shawl, the black tie affair shawl by my friend Jennifer, and the winner is, I'm gonna read this because it's a lot of numbers, Kida 1984, or 1984 if you will. So Kida 1984, I'm gonna write your name here. You need to get in touch with me so that I can tell Jennifer to gift you that pattern. So there's that. And then there are 3 winners for the winter shawl, and I'm gonna announce them now. It is Martha's Hinterhoff, I think, and then there is Ellen Solvik, which I have to say, Ellen, you have a stunning surname, if I may say so myself. And there is Hygge Bear. So Martha's Hinterhoff, Ellen Solvik, Hygge Bear. You need to get in touch with me so that I can tell Pinna Goody to gift you the patterns. So congratulations everybody. I hope you'll have a lot of fun knitting shawls, because shawl knitting, I'm gonna just come out and say it, it's actually a lot of fun. I am a bit of a convert. I've been a bit of a convert the past year since starting this podcast, and I guess that was the goal. So I can take that one off the list. I have 1 FO that I can show you this week. I do have another one as well, but it is very, very secret. I wish I could show you, but bigger powers than me have decided that it is a secret, so I cannot. I'm just gonna say that. But I have another FO that I can show you, and it is a pair of mittens, of course, and it's very exciting because it is a design of mine I have never shown you on the podcast before, and it is one of my Christmas patterns. So I have 2 pairs of Christmas mittens coming out, and one of them I can show you. The other one is the mysteries. I can't show you that, but this one is going to come out as a full pattern. So if you're not keen on mysteries, or you do want overly Christmas symbolic mittens, then these are definitely for you. I've got them on blocker, so they look huge, but these are the mittens in question. There's a lot. They look at each other. That's nice, isn't it? I need to come up with a good name for these, so if anyone's got any names, you know, they are deer and it's Christmas, I'd like to have that as part of the name maybe. But it's also funny because I'm like Skeindeer, so Skeindeer, Christmas deer, I don't know, it would be just cool to have a name that kind of says something about that. But yeah, this is the mittens in question. Shall we take them off the blockers maybe? I want to show you the backside first. It's a lot easier to show you when they're on the blockers. It's just foam board. I just cut them out. They seem to fit my mittens the size that I always knit, so I just keep reusing these, although they're kind of broken. Like this one doesn't really have a cuff anymore. So there's that. But yeah, they have a lace cuff. I've never done a lace cuff before. It's my first lace design, you guys. Pretty epic. I'm still working out the lace cuff because this one is very tight to get over my hand. So I decided, instead of having the same needle size as the hand and the cuff, we can go up half a needle size. I've done that for my work in progress for these. So these mittens, that's my other work in progress. They don't have a thumb yet. I don't have another partner, so to speak. But here it went up half a needle size, and the cuff fits a lot better. I can easily get it across, you know, my hand now. That's not a problem. So it fits really well. I might just keep this in the pattern. It looks nice, but I have asked test knitters of mine to check out what happens if you go down half a needle size and add 11 stitches to the cuff, because that is the number repeat here. So that would just be interesting to see if that works. I can write down both options if you want a long or a short cuff. Yeah, so obviously it's going to be shorter if you do the smaller needle size but with more stitches, but it's going to be longer with a few stitches and a larger needle size. I'm definitely not going to add this cuff. While it looks nice, I struggle to get it over my hand. I like it though. I just feel like it's not, I don't know, maybe I'll just include all three. Why not? So I finally got them off the blockers, and this is kind of what they look like when they are not there. So I can kind of show you how they are to get on, because they're not impossible. It's just like you kind of have to wriggle your hand in, so that is not great. But once they're on, they sit so well. They're just like, whoa, sculpted for me. So mixed feelings about them in that sense. I'd like to hear your opinion, if you want me to write down all three cuffs, or 1, 2, I don't know. So this is what I have. It fits me so well. So, oh, I don't know, just want to hold these up and show you. The pattern is not out yet. They're with test knitters because I do things properly, you know. I don't want there to be errors in the pattern. So once they are done, I mean, I don't see why I should hold back the pattern anymore. So yeah, Christmas deer mittens. These are more festive in color choice though, for sure. And I'm using tuku wool here. So this is in PT2 and Finullgarn, both of which are Roma yarns that are pretty much identical. It's just like one company bought the other. It's a bit like suddenly if Jameson's and Smith 2-ply jumper weight and Jameson's Spindrift were all of a sudden part of the same company, and they would keep both yarns. It's kind of like that. But here I'm using tuku wool fingering, and I have to say I adore it. It is a lot softer actually, but it's not making any compromises on anything. So you can see the cuff is longer because I use a larger needle size, and it's easier to get on. Still sits pretty well, so I'm kind of team this cuff personally. You can see the different colours. Also, before and after blocking, it's such a huge difference. It really is. So they look a lot smaller before blocking. That's pretty much that. They used to get off. I mean, that's not the problem with the lace cuffs. It's just getting them on can be a bit of an effort. So there's that, one whip and one finished project. And this is tricky wool, you guys. Just let's look at that. I just adore this yarn. When I feel the skeins, I think, oh, this is just like Finullgarn. When I knit it up, it is just a lot softer and kind of silkier. I can't really explain it. So if you just are like, oh, Finullgarn's okay, just wish it was slightly less prickly, just a little smoother. Tricky wool, you guys. Just, yeah. Oh yeah, this is my cheeky little knitting goddess bag. Not as cheeky as the other one though. Another kind of work in progress I have is this pumpkin spice mitten. So as you will remember, I made 2 right hand mittens when I was designing these, and I'm working slowly up on making the left hand mittens as well. So this one I finished while I was in Bergen, which I will get into. This whole episode is supposed to be about Bergen. I'm not really getting there. I've just been knitting a lot as well. So before and after blocking, it's quite the difference. Interesting enough, I kind of measure the same gauge on these. I just kind of have to put them flat and slap a ruler on them and kind of hold it down, and then I do get the same gauge. It's just like they're not stretched out for that whole kind of bulkiness of the floats, I guess, to really kind of, excuse me, to really kind of even out. So this is kind of before and after blocking. So if you feel like you're getting this, block it, you get this, you know. The difference from front and back. Mainly it's just a size thing. They just grow more after I block them, and I find that other people actually don't get that growth. So I don't know if it's something about me being a tight knitter and that kind of just coming a bit more undone when I block them. It's a mystery, but it works, and I'm on gauge and I get my size, so it's fine. So getting closer to having 2 pairs of these. I don't know why I feel like I need to make 2 pairs of these, because I really only needed to make 1 to get the design out, but I guess now I'll have 2 pairs and figure out something to do them then. So I've also been working a bit on my Transcendence socks, and they live in this bag that I got from my friend Gail, who also watches this podcast. So thank you so much, Gail. I love elephants. Thank you. And yeah, in this bag I've got my Transcendence sock. So I finished knitting 1 of these. This is what it looks like. My design. It will come out someday. It's in a collaboration with Saskia of Ovis Etc. Yarn. So does amazing rustic sock yarns and other kinds of yarns. She even has yarn for my mitten club. I mean, they are perfect for my mitten club is what I'm trying to say, and she's often kind of promoting them in that context, and nice. Super cool. So thank you so much, Saskia. I think you should definitely check out her Etsy shop for yarns that you could use for the mittens and for these socks when these come out. I'm just being incredibly slow with these. Now I'm thinking they might be ready for maybe a early January release. I might be able to get them out by December, but I'm kind of trying to get kind of festive looking designs out then, so I'm not sure. I'm just thinking out loud, guys. It will come out when it comes out is what I'm trying to say. But here we are. This is what it looks like. A toe up sock with a short row heel where there's color work on the short row heel, which is mad. And I'm sure if you have a high arch, then that is probably a bit meh. How is that going to work with long floats and over the high arch? That's not great. Well, I've written down a heel where you can do the color work just across here instead of across here, so you can choose whichever you would like to do. And so yeah, one sock down, another one to go, and then I'll actually have what, 7 pairs for my box of socks. I'm not ahead of this game. But yeah, this yarn, the Kempish Heiden shop, I think, is just a thing of wonders. I adore this. I was so thrilled when I got this in the mail ages ago to make this design. And it will come out one day, promise you. Just, you know, me and socks. It's a thing. Now let's get into garments. I've been knitting a lot of garments lately. It's just, I'm in that frame of mind right now. So first thing lives in my Marius bag. It's a toiletry bag from Norway. You can get those there. It's a thing. I am knitting the Bergen sweater. So I showed you that, I think it was last episode. I just done a little bit. Now I've done quite a bit. Turns out it's not that slow to make, actually. The color work section is a big pain. Yes, you heard that from me, because you have to carry 3 strands a lot of the time, like maybe a third of the time to half the time. And I love 2-stranded color work, but 3-stranded, it's just such a pain. I don't know how they do it. Like, if anyone of you know how they make Latvian mittens, because they do that all the time there, how do they? Because I can hold 3 strands across my index finger just fine. That's how I knit continental. But you get very long floats, and those floats I feel like you need to catch. And when I do, I tangle the yarns. Any suggestions? I'm confused. I know some people like introduce their other fingers and have a yarn over each. And like, I use this finger to kind of support my knitting under my... anyway, I'll figure it out. Just venting. Anyway, the Bergen, it is done. Like, it's not done. The colour work is done, which is kind of what I was going for, because that just needed to get out of the way with the whole 3-strandedness. The neckline, actually, I did it. I was really concerned when I cast it on. I felt like I'm not going to get that over my head, so I put it off and did a provisional cast on just below the first increase row, and then I just did the decreases instead, and then did the neckline and bound off and made sure it did fit. And it just goes over my head. It's fine. It's very snug around my neck, which I actually love. I hate open necklines like this. I just can't. It just kind of loses the point of a woolly jumper to me. But this, I think, should be great. I want to say though, the armholes really aren't that big. I'm choosing a fairly large size, but it seems quite tight on me, because not only are there no increases between where my hands are here, my fingers are, it's just straight, and then the armholes, they're not terribly big. Like, they're not too small either. It's just kind of just right. So for someone who went for a positive ease jumper and got really tight sleeves, it's a bit like, okay, not what I was going for. But it will fit, and I am so thrilled with this jumper. It's kind of all I want to knit, even though I'm on the stockinette part now. It's kind of rolled up a little bit. I have gotten further than this. And I am still debating whether to crop it or not, like a very loose crop, so it'd be longer than my usual cropped stuff. It's not just going to stop my waist, but just slightly further down and just be kind of loose around the whole thing. That's kind of my idea. I don't know. I never stick to the pattern with these things. That's just my thing. It's kind of funny also that you go up a needle size every 10 centimeter. So I think I had like 3.25 for the first 10 centimeter, and then 3.5 for the next 10, and now I'm on 3.75, just to kind of make it A-lined. And that's pretty cool, although I'd probably prefer to have the large needle size all the way and just increase in stitches. But then again, this is kind of saving me time, because I get to go up a needle size and I get to not do more stitches, so it's kind of encouraging in an odd way. So as you will see, I'm using sparkly contrast colors. I know, it's mad. It is just mad. So it's just very, very sparkly. When I was just casting it on and did the green bit, I was like, okay, this is becoming a Christmas jumper. Didn't mean for that to happen, but it's just, yeah, very, very sparkly. Because I'm using the undyed yarn is by Laxton's Limited. They do this amazing Blueface Leicester Massham blend, which is so lovely and marbled, and just, I love this yarn. As you will remember, I was working on the hap in the same yarn. It was just the DK weight. It's still a work in progress because the lace edging, it's just, I don't want to do it ever. And it got too hot in the summer, I didn't do it. Now it's just a UFO. Oh dear. But I love this yarn, and I got more DK weight and Aran weight of the same yarn from Laxton's when I was in Yarndale. So that was great. And I also love how this thing has a short row neck, as you will see here. It's deeper at the back and it is at the front, and that is just amazing. I love this so much. If you don't know, this jumper, this design, it's from the second issue of Len magazine, and it's just amazing. It's by Caitlin Hunter, and this is a funny story. When I first joined Ravelry and moved abroad, I did sort of, you know, I went on Ravelry and I looked through the most popular patterns, and there was just no colour work. Here am I coming from a country of ski jumpers and colour work yokes, and I'm not finding that on Ravelry. I'm just getting confused that people are making jumpers that to me look like you could just buy in a store. For me, knitted jumpers look knitted. I came across, you know, Kate Davies and that kind of thing, and that made me feel at home anyway. But now, if you go to the trending clothes on Ravelry, there are so many colourwork yokes now, and I feel like half of them are Caitlin Hunter's. You know, it's the Swan Show, and it's I forgot what it's called, the one with all the hand-dyed yarns that you use. It looks kind of like an Icelandic yoke. And it's this one, and she's just all over the place. And there's so many other colourwork yokes as well. You know, Brooklyn Tweed's been getting into the Icelandic yokes, and it's just awesome, really. And it's funny because it's kind of all coming down to Norway in a sense. I'm not making the argument like, oh, because Iceland was Norwegian once. I'm not. It's because the Icelandic jumper actually was inspired by mid-1900s Norwegian jumper called the Eskimo, basically. It's not the greatest name. I can go into that, but I'm not going to. But it's a jumper that was kind of reinvented in, I think, the 50s, but it was first published in the 20s by Anniken Sibben. And so it's actually come from Norway, but then it just really caught steam in Iceland. A lot to do with Vedis Jonsdottir, and it's just become like a thing, Icelandic jumpers. And now it's international, it's all over Ravelry, and I think it's so cool to see colourwork yokes being really appreciated on the knitosphere online. So very happy to see things as, you know, this jumper making the rounds and becoming quite popular. And I just love how this is working out here. And just, yeah, it's very social knitting friendly as well, which is something I try doing a lot more on lately, just to feel a little bit better. And I'm probably going to bring this to Oslo to have something simple to knit on, because yes, I'm going to Oslo on Thursday. Whenever this episode comes out, it should be out before I'm in Oslo, so saying Thursday shouldn't be too arbitrary. I hope to see you guys there. Maybe I'll see some of you that I saw in Bergen as well. That'd be really cool. I know I'm gonna see some. I will look forward to that. Yeah, I'm gonna put the Birkin away so we have time to talk about other things, because I'm just too slow in this episode and there's just so much stash to go through. But I'm saving the whole stash acquisition for last, because some people like that and some people don't. And so I consider that the least important part of the episode as well. So it's just going there. Now, lastly, among my projects that I'm working on is a jumper that I have named Blåfjell. And the reason being is that I came across a pile of this yarn after I'd done all my Norway shopping. The last yarn shop I went to, I found this yarn. And if you're Norwegian, you know why this gets me so excited. So basically, this is a TV show that ran during the lead up to Christmas in December in Norway. They have kept resending it every so often, but they've stopped doing it now, and I love this show. It's called Jul I Blåfjell, which means Christmas in Blue Mountain. I can tell you about the story. It's super adorable, and it's got a very great sort of moral to it as well. But the thing is, they made yarn for the costumes in that show. So it's basically rebranded PT2. This is PT2 through and through, like it says here, Roma and PT. It's got the meterage of PT2. It is essentially the same, but it's got the label of Blåfjell. So you should still be able to find this yarn as PT2. It's just, yeah, like I said, a rebranding. So I got this like kind of cobalt. The label is near somewhere. I got this ice blue, which is just a regular PT2, and I got 6 of these. I got 5 left because I'm already knitting on the 6th, so I love this. So I am tentatively naming this jumper Blåfjell. I might do it if I can get away with it, and it's a jumper that I am designing. I'm feeling a bit silly wearing the Marius now, because I had a friend being like, oh, it looks like the Marius. I'm like, no, I don't think it does personally. I just chose navy blue, which probably gives the same impression. I wasn't even looking at Norwegian like reference books for the charts for this, to be honest. So there is that. I am working up a kind of vintagey looking jumper. So it has a fairly tight neckline. For me, that is pretty much the vintage look. I'm going to try to work into the pattern how you can just omit the first increases and just cast on that number instead, so that it should be a bit more open if that is what you prefer. But I'm doing a very tight neckline. It's got shorter shaping, as you'll see, and then I'm just knitting this yoke around, and it's got very stepwise increases. Like you got increases here, and you got them there and there and there and there. They're very frequent, except for this little section here. It's where there are none between here. I think that's not too long, so that'd be alright. And yeah, it's almost done. I'm gonna repeat this section below here, and then it's just the darkest navy for the whole bodies. It's gonna be cropped to again have that vintage look to it, although when it's top down it's super easy, and I'm saying that literally anyone can modify that to fit their shape. You can increase, you can decrease, you can knit it longer, knit it shorter, you do you, basically. I think that's what's great about a top down. If the pattern doesn't suit your body style, it's so easy to adapt and not having to be concerned with how that's going to fit the yoke, because you've already done the yoke. So when this pattern will come out, I can't really promise you. It might take a year, it might take just a month, like I really don't know. I'm gonna have to find some very, very clever tech editors to help me out with the sizing, although I actually already done the sizing. I'm just scared it's not the best way. I think it is. I've gotten a lot of help from, you know, our lovely friend Ann Budd, who does amazing books that I can read through, and she's got great books on top-down designs, and so I've started there. I'm being very concerned with how I want every piece of this pattern to add up, and I feel like, should I tell the knitter how to do that, like knit 6 make 1, knit 7 make 1, knit 6 make 1, and so on? Or can I just say, this is the stitch count you have, this is how many you need to increase by to get this stitch count, make it up? Because that's what we do in Norway, that's what you'll find in the Marius. It's hard, but it's also a bit of a disservice to just write it out how to do it, because I think it's such a useful skill in knitting to learn how to make out that formula for yourself. So I might give a crash course on how to do that instead of actually giving people the answer, because I'm really aiming for this to be a beginner friendly top-down color work garment. It's got 24 stitch gauge, so fairly quick. No, I'm not doing several sizes in different gauges. That's just an accessory thing. For this garment it will be different stitch counts and all the same gauge, I promise. I'm not that crazy and silly. So it's a thing that I'm working on. It is kind of the thing I just want to knit on all the time now. I just love how it looks, and yeah, I would be very interested to see how it looks in different colors. Maybe I'll do several colors myself, maybe, you know, when I get test knitters, that'll be super cool to see. So, but it's just a long journey from now. I need to make this thing first myself. So I'm now ready to tackle Bergen. I went to Bergen in, what was it, early October, end of September, early October is when it was. It was just really nice. When I landed, I met up with 2 friends, and we went to, first me and one of them, we went to a knit night. We went to a few yarn shops as well. There were some really great ones in Bergen. I think it's called Norwegian Spirit or Spirit of Norway or something like that. They were at the train station, which is like the first place you land in Bergen, and you get to see that as your first stop. That's really cool. And I thought, among all the yarn shops I went to, I obviously prefer things like Husfliden, the traditional ones, but I have to say the shop at the train station, they were the most kind of on board with what's going on now. They had, you know, hand-dyed yarns from local hand dyers. They had Brooklyn tweed, they had Rowan, which is, you know, international, so even that is just you know, innovative in Norway, I want to say. There's a lot of drops yarn as well, and it had amazing selection of Hillesvåg, and that is the best part, because we went to Hillesvåg, we went to the factory. I'm gonna put in a little clip of myself talking when I was in Bergen. I don't know if it's gonna fit into this, but we're just gonna put that in here, and then some of my clips from the wool factory, and then when we come back here I'm gonna show you the yarn I ended up with and what happened there. Hi, so I thought I would take a moment to have a sit down with you in the middle of Bergen, because I'm in Bergen, and so this is maybe a vlog, or maybe just me documenting every so often, or putting that into the podcast, or I don't know, you'll see. But anyway, touching base with you guys. I am in Byparken in Bergen, or Bergen, or however you want to say that. I'm not local, so I'm free to choose, I guess. I guess everybody's free to choose, so I say Bergen because I'm speaking English to you right now, which is funny to do when you are in Norway. And this is weird because this is the second largest city in Norway, and I've never been here, ever. This is my first time. And so, I feel like I'm a bit of a foreigner. In a way, like this is the second largest city in Norway and I'm from the third largest city. So in many ways, it's very, very similar. It's just like someone's taken my hometown and just jumbled it around so that it looks the same, but not really. It's like configured differently. Apologies, I'm sitting next to the light rail and to some construction site, and in front of the beautiful park with this amazing pond as like the centerpiece of Bergen. It's awesome. Anyway, I wasn't going to tell you about all my tourism, although I guess the basics is that I landed at 2 o'clock yesterday, went into town, went to 3 yarn shops, one of which had a knit night, and then we got a lift from some of the people in knit night to take us to Hillesvåg Ullvarefabrikk, which is the factory where they make the Hillesvåg yarn. Oh my god, guys, I've got lots of footage here that I will put in, maybe as I'm talking or after I'm talking, who knows. And I'm very sorry for the wind. Also, it's really easy for me to hold my hand over the microphone on this camera, so I hope I haven't done that. That happens sometimes, and the sound is wonky. Anyway, that factory, amazing, amazing, oh my god, just... So if you don't know, Hillesvåg is one of my favourite yarns from Norway, and I've finally seen where they make it, and it looks like a museum. It's kind of hidden away in this little kind of teeny tiny valley, and when you come inside, like all the machines look really old and they stand still because when they have the kind of viewing, I guess the guided tours, they don't actually run the machines. So it's like really hard to imagine that these things actually run and they make yarn all day, every day. And the yarn that I knit with and endorse to you guys, and that is so cool. So I ended up, as this man just like staring at me like, what is she doing? So you can do weird things like this in London. You can't really do weird things like this here, which is why I'm hiding away in a park like some kind of drug user or something. Anyway, no judgment, but that yarn, yeah. So I got away with a very, very big bag of wool. And yeah, couldn't help myself. It's my favourite yarn, and they had a 20% discount for the night because they had the guided tour, and it's Wool Week after all. And lots of people here for the Wool Festival as well, or the Knitting Festival as we call it, which I am going to tomorrow. Today is Friday, and Friday is taco night and knitting and yarn shopping. So I've been to one yarn shop already, didn't film for that, but yeah, it's a nice little kind of local supermarket shop where they had Dale yarns and Store alpaca, which is you great alpaca, which is a funny saying in Norwegian, and it's a brand of yarn where we have lots of alpaca yarn. So they had lots of that, and some knit pro needles, particularly the Nova Cubics, which is really good to see. And yeah, so I'm gonna look at more yarn shops now, and oh my god, I can't stop thinking about that wool factory. That was so good. I have to go back there sometime. And I met a lot of people like who I know via this podcast, and people who have just been watching, and that was so unexpected. I'm not prepared to be like a knitting celebrity in Norway, not that I think I am, but like still being like a person who's recognized. It's gonna be a lot of that tomorrow, isn't it? I look forward to it, I do. It's just kind of, I'm not used to this kind of situation. Anyway, let's go yarn shopping, yeah, and some food maybe. So that was that. I really enjoyed the whole wool factory. We got a tour where I was able to film some, not all, not most, but some. It wasn't always the most appropriate place to film, because I'm not in focus, am I? Yeah. Because it's just a small place. It's, you know, people everywhere. People may not want to be on camera, and I can't be bothered to ask everybody, so I'd rather just not film. But I did manage to film some, and it was such a great tour. And then I met people I've never met before there. It was really cool. Some people recognized me, which is like, so thank you. That was really nice. I hope I didn't seem too aloof, because I'd just been traveling the whole day. I'd left London the same morning. And yeah, where did you go from here? I can show you the yarn I got. I got these yarns. I am very, very eager to make socks of these, because I am just in love with this color combination lately. This is the Fjord yarn. It's like a heavy sport DK. Might go as far as to say that this is DK weight sock yarn, 250 meters on a 100-gram hank. And yeah, Fjord. I want to make some socks in this. I'm just in love with this color combo. You know, you've seen that on some socks I made recently, and there are the jumper on front of the latest pom-pom, which I bought. This one, I just bought that lately. I'm just going to show you now while I remember, because there's just so many things to cover. Got the latest pom-pom. Funny story here, the only design here that I really liked, turns out I know who the designer is. Just, I didn't realize. So that is the thing I think I might make, but I'll get back to that at some point in the future. So got these to design some socks. I don't know why, just, well, I keep designing. I guess that's the reason why. Sorry, it's a lot of bag crinkling here. Everything is in plastic bags. I don't know where to put my yarn. It's an actual problem, because I bought so much. What else do we have here? Well, I bought some Ask. This is a grey Ask. This is a kind of bluish green. I've been really in love with this colour lately. You'll see that a lot today. This colour. It's my new friend. Hello. Meet blue green. I don't know what it's called. What did they call it? Dark bluish. I would say it's more green than blue, but oh well. Oh well. I also got Fjell, which is their even thicker sock yarn. I'm gonna go on a whim and say it's more of an Aran weight sock yarn, possibly worsted. We don't do yarn weights in Norway, so that's why I'm just like, eh. The gauge, recommended gauge is 22 stitches, but then again that's because it's socks that should be knitted fairly tight. So, gonna put the Fjell with the Fjord, because Fjord and Fjord or Fjell, it's like a phrase in Norway. That's probably why they did that. Oh, and I got purple Ask as well. This is their old labels, and I got the new white ones. Guys, I am just in love with... Oh, I never realized how well these three go together. Anyway, I was just going to say, I'm just in love with Hillesvåg. Like, you know, there are people who are weird and just like marrying train stations and stuff. Like, you've read that? The places where you can marry and animate things, to marry like buildings. I'm beginning to feel that way about Hillesvåg Wool Factory, because it's just the best wool factory ever. I know I have professed my love for them time and time again, but Hillesvåg, you guys, they own my heart. They just so, yeah, I love them. That factory, I mean, it looks like a museum. I may have said that in the clip I added in, I don't know. It looks like a museum, but then all the machines are actually running. It's incredible. And all that we have left is a white Ask skein, and this is a bit of a mix of what I got at the factory and the wool festival, because I picked up one skein of Vilje, which is their new lamb's wool. Now, they haven't dyed this lamb's wool yet, but they will. They will make several colours, but as for now, you can only get it undyed. And I love this thing so much. It is a fingering weight lamb's wool. It's kind of heavy fingering, maybe, because it's 375 meters, but fingering in my book. So because they had several at the actual festival, I got another 3. So yeah, shall we just look at the Hillesvåg stack? I'll just put it all in my arms and just say how bad it was even before I actually got into the festival. Yeah, so this was my factory haul. I mean, to be fair, actually no, there's more. There is more. Oh god. To be fair, they had it really cheap. Like, that's my weakness when yarn is cheap. I don't spend actually that much on yarn. I'm just stupidly good at finding the good prices and the good deals, and I can't really resist them. Oh dear, Haley, what have you done? My face is really shiny today. I don't know what's up with that. At least we don't have that like red tint outside today. It's back to blue-grey London again. Because yesterday the sky was red, the sun was red. It's because of the hurricane that came up to Ireland, and it kind of brought up sort of fire ash stuff from Southern Europe, and you know, Sahara sand, and everything was just red. This happened once before in London. We got like stuff from Sahara coming up here, making everything red. It was really weird. And that happened yesterday. It was really like it was like really apocalyptic, sort of doomsday looking. It was weird. Anyway, I also got these at the factory. As some of you will know, I've been obsessing with this yarn for years, but it's never been possible for me to find in local shops. And I don't like ordering from Hillesvåg. As much as I love them, they have a set shipping rate of £9. And that is the price of a skein. So if I'm going to try out one skein, I'm not going to pay that. Sorry, I love you, Hillesvåg, but do something with your shipping rates, seriously. I know the shipping rates in Norway are very high as well. Obviously, we pay our postal workers fairly well, so I'm not going to complain. I'm just being a bit crazy over the fact that I finally got my hands on Huldra. I don't know if you know what Huldra is. Huldra is a mythical creature in Norwegian kind of folklore and yeah, mythology, not mythology, but it's a woman who lives in the forest, and it's kind of like a mermaid of the forest in a way, because she lures men in there with her beautiful song and whatever. I think she sings, and she's often naked, although some people portray her with a dress, but she's got a cow tail, and that's how you can tell it's not a real girl. She's trying to trick you, and she's very beautiful. Just yeah, Huldra. And Huldra Kamgarn is a thing of wonders. I am thinking this is going to be a vintage blouse. I am very obsessed with vintage blouses lately. It's a thing I'm very, I shouldn't say obsessed, preoccupied with, I should say. And I think this is perfect vintage yarn. It's very, very smooth. It's a very, if you hold up this next to us, you can see how woolen spun and worsted spun are different. So Kamgarn means worsted spun. It's when the fibers have been combed parallel, as opposed to worsted spun where it's kind of poking in every direction. And so this is Kamgarn, and it's clearly very different from woolen spun. The best comparison I can do is obviously with this skein of Usk. So you can see, if I can hold this close, you can see how this is just, it's a lot more fuzz to it. This, however, it's got more sheen because it's all become parallel and it just looks smoother. I'm just gonna hold that up until it focuses again. So hopefully that is something you can see, how this just is smoother because it's truly worsted spun. This is truly woolen spun, and this is by far better for color work. This, however, it's got great stitch definition. It's got amazing, I would think this would be amazing for lace, and definitely the kind of vintage blouses I have in mind, because they do obviously use lace, and nice and thin and sort of drapey, but it's still a non-superwash, so I'm not gonna expect this to do the sort of uncontrollable growth of superwash garments. Very sorry if you can hear the fly. That's just gotten determined to break the glass that my windows are made of. Anyway, side note. So it's a little tour, a visual illustration of the difference between woolen spun and worsted spun, because yeah, hopefully you can now see which is which, because I changed the order. But yeah, these are loftier by far. You get a lot more room in these strands when you have it woolen spun, which is why I prefer woolen spun, but there's worsted spun, you guys. I love Huldra Kamgarn so much. I did a bit of shopping in Bergen town as well. We're not gonna go into depth too much about that, because essentially it's a lot for designs that I'm planning, and just keep it a bit of a surprise. There's a lot of more accessories basically, but I just got it in this bag, just various single skeins here and there. A lot of thick yarn, so got like this kind of, it's called Tasseladd. It's a kind of DK nylon yarn, different things like that. I finally got myself some 3-ply knitting yarn, so you might remember this. So yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on this bag because it's just bits and bobs from here and there that I have plans for design wise. Just various skeins of yarn. So yeah, that was the Bergen town shopping. I want to say though that I really loved Bergen. I'd never been. It's the second largest city in Norway, and I'm from the third largest city in Norway, and obviously I've been to Oslo. I've never been to Bergen, and I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to come back. and also for the distant future when I move to London from London, and maybe consider Norway. It's a town, or city I should say, that I definitely consider. Because while I love Trondheim and would love to live there sometime again, I feel like now is too soon. There is the danger of feeling like a foreigner in your hometown, in your home country. So I'm very hesitant about moving to Norway for that reason. Yeah, it's lots of thoughts I've been having about my future lately, because it's kind of, I'm getting to a crossroad now where I need to make decisions about where to go next. Because I might just have a year left of my PhD, and yeah. So I want to get into Bergen Knitting Festival itself, because that was a thing of wonders. Honestly, I was so happy to be there. Definitely want to come back in the future. Oh god, where did I begin? It was just so much fun. There were other podcasters there as well. Like we have, I want to say we have two major podcasts in Norway that are in Norwegian language. One is Marte og Marte, which is a audio podcast that's been going for, I want to say, at least 2 years, if not longer. Feels like they've been around for ages. They're just really fun, and they definitely been one of those podcasts that made me go, yes, Norwegian wool, you know, just kind of really falling in love with that. And it was really nice meeting them, although I was a bit kind of shy and awkward, my usual self basically. So yeah, anyway, very nice. And also there is Strikketerapi, which is with Kristin and Ingvild, and they are a lot of fun. They do a YouTube video podcast in Norwegian, and I just love them, and it's just super cool to meet them, and hopefully I will see them again in Oslo. And yeah, that was just really nice to see that there is a podcast presence in Norwegian yarn festivals as well. It's not just about the old things, you know, the old big companies. This is definitely a support for indie makers and the people that are online, because that is really where knitting is happening right now. So that is just, I love that. It was really nice meeting people. Definitely nice meeting people who are watching this podcast. So thank you so much for saying hello to me, and for those of you who were too shy to say hello to me, because I know some of you got in touch with me afterwards. Seriously, I am the awkward person here. You should say hello to me, and anything that is awkward is my fault entirely, because it's just great. Isn't it great just being a bit awkward? We can deal with that. Just say hello to me. Hopefully some of you will be at Oslo Knitting Festival, and we can say hello then and be super awkward, and that will be just fine, because we're people on the internet. There's a reason why we are on the internet, just saying. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was really nice to just be there for the talks that they had that were open to everybody, I think, and the festival and the market. Let's get into the market, because I bought yarn. Nobody's surprised that I bought yarn. It wasn't Edinburgh Yarn Festival crazy buying yarn. I mean, the whole thing that I ended up with at the end of the stay in Norway definitely was, but yeah, at the actual festival, I want to say I contained myself. Although the generosity of Amelia of Arctic Yarns made it look like I'd been really going mad, because I mean, we did a bit of a trade. So she got a cardigan that I had knitted, and in turn I got some yarn. And I don't want to say some yarn like that's just some yarn. It's amazing. Let's just get to that. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that the best color? She calls this colorway Veslefrikk. One of these has the label. Let's see. Veslefrikk. This is the label, her logo. Gosh, can you tell I've not done this for a while? Arctic yarns. So it's Askeladden, that's the base. It's translated to the Askeladden. It's kind of the main character of a lot of Norwegian folk tales. He's the youngest brother of 3 in a very poor family. In the end of the day, he wins the princess as half the kingdom and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, that kind of story. It's 100% Norwegian pelt wool, which is my favorite. I mean, one of my favorites, but definitely like in my top 5 of fibers. So this comes from Hillesvåg wool factory, and it's just a thing of wonders. And she dyed it in the best color possible. I mean, did anyone know I like this color? Yeah, no, anyway. So it's a 300 meter per 100 gram skein. You've seen me work on this yarn before when it has come directly from the Hillesvåg factory, but Emilie gets these from Hillesvåg to dye herself in the Arctic. Don't worry, she does dye them indoors. It's not that mad. I got 5 skeins. That is a sweater quantity. Oh my god, what I don't even know what to do with all this. Like, I mean, I could do colour work, but I could also do something in just this colour. That is very tempting right now. I just want to hold it up for you to see just the amazing like tonalness, because you know me, I not that much into variegated yarns, but tonal yarns, that is where hand dyers truly win my heart. Just, I could hold this up forever. Just look at these colours. This is going to be my screenshot. There's a little opportunity for screen capping this for my video. Anyway, I'm going to put these aside and show you some other yarns of Arctic yarns, because she gave me more. Yes, there's more of the pelt wool. Look at that. Look at these colours. The one is undyed. The grey is how it looks like, just natural. This is the pelt wool colour. I love this thing. I just love pelt wool. As you will remember, I actually knitted a shawl in pelt wool, the Grø shawl by Nina Petrina, who's going to be at Oslo Strikkefestival, which is really cool. But that shawl I forgot in Wild and Woolly. So I know if Wild and Woolly is looking after that for me. The reason why it's there, along with my the hat I made in pelt wool as well from Hillesvåg, is because I am trying to persuade her to take in the yarn in her shop. So I gave her some trade cards and we'll see what happens. It obviously depends if it's a good deal for her or not. She's definitely into the yarn, so I'm just like, yes, yes. But yeah, look at this colour. Am I the only one who's thinking pumpkin spice here? Yeah, we could do pumpkin spice kits, because the thing about these 4 skeins, and I want to show you the other 2 as well. This is in Ask, so we talked about Ask earlier. She's dyeing Ask in, again, the Veslefritt colorway, I think. No, it's Solan. My bad, they look similar, but yeah, this one is a lot brighter. And they're both the Caprino base. And yeah, the thing about these skeins, she gave me these to have giveaways. Now she's told me I may keep whichever I want, and that is a very hard decision, but if they become giveaway prices for cows, I will let you know. I have finally gotten some things that I can actually give away now. That is truly awesome. I'm gonna get into that at the end of the episode, because I've been given things to give away as well, which doesn't always happen to me, so I'm very, 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 very grateful to those of you who heard my cry for help when I was like, I have started a lot of cows and I don't have any prizes, so I haven't thought about that. And obviously now there will be another cow with the Christmas mystery mittens, so oh dear. I want to say, without like arguing that it was expensive or anything, but the skein that I cashed out the most for during Bergen Knitting Festival was yarn from Flokeriet. Because let's just look at this thing. So this is actually dyed Vilje. So remember the white skeins I showed you that I got 5 of, I think, from Hillesvåg? This is what it looks like dyed. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is a thing of wonders. Like, I know, I can fully appreciate why a lot of hand dyers do not use non-superwash yarns, because quite frankly, superwash yarns takes to dye a lot better. It just looks so much more interesting. If you want to make it tonal, or you want to make it speckle, or you want to make variegated, superwash yarn is so much more forgiving, whereas in non-superwash it just kind of bleeds into each other and becomes a bit of a mush. But not this thing, and not the other ones either. Just, oh, I love a good tonal, and that is, I think tonal is the best thing you can do with non-superwash, and I've definitely seen that with the Arctic yarns as well. And just, oh my god. And this lamb's wool, you guys. Oh, going slightly mad. You can see why this yarn therapy thing is kind of working out. I mean, it's an issue with storage, but aside from that. So this is hand dyed lamb's wool, 375 meters. That is the Vilje base, which is what it says. And this is from Flokeriet. So it's written in handwriting, but I'm going to try to show you anyway. Yeah. So this is Flokeriet. And I am just so impressed with this. I could hold it up forever. And I really want to come up with a design to use this alongside some of the white Vilje yarn that I have got. That is just a thought I have, just throwing that out there. And other yarns that really caught my attention at the Bergen Knitting Festival was yarn from Fjord Fibres. And I met Gilly, who is, or Jilly, I'm not sure, is it Jilly? Anyway, hey, I'm bad at pronouncing. She was selling this yarn, and she is actually a British lady who lives in Norway. So we're kind of in opposite sides of things. And it's really funny, like after we've been talking for ages, she actually kind of connected that almost Skeindeer. I just kind of changed my hair a bit. So So that was really funny. So we kind of knew of each other. And I just love this yarn. She hand dyes Norwegian rustic nylon sock yarn. I have no idea where she gets this base, but oh my god, just let's have a little close up. Yeah, this is Fjord Fibres. There we are. I'm thinking a sock design here. I mean, isn't that going to be amazing socks? This color is just really like eating my brain lately. I'm just getting anything in sort of blue-green shades now. Makes my eye color pop, doesn't it? Anyway, so yeah, it's a nylon rustic wool blend. It is a thing of wonders. I think it looks lovely. It's got where is the meterage? 350 meters, 80% wool, 20% polyester. It's called Night Storm, this one, and this one is called, where is it? Desert Oasis. So these are gonna be friends. And she also actually gave me this. This is Trollkar, which is another of these yarns. I think it's just the undyed version of the same. I might be wrong there, but they're totally possible to work together. So, and they have the same meterage, so I'm assuming these are the same. These are just skeined up. She said there might be more of these coming my way, because I'm very interested in developing designs for these. Obviously with the caution that with the PhD write-up and everything, I might not be able to get things out right away. But the way I see it, the longer it takes me to make a pattern, the more of you guys this will reach. So sock patterns will be coming. I'm actually getting into sock knitting and sock knitting design. Who knew? And I did a really good deal at the Bergen Knitting Festival. And this is actually the last bits that I got in Bergen at the yarn festival itself. And in Bergen in general, actually, come to think of it. And that is Isager. I thought this was Highland wool. It is Highland silk. And I got these, and they were just, I think they were like half price or something. I couldn't really help myself, because as I've told you, I am really keen on the idea of making vintage blouses, and I think Highland silk is just perfect for that. It's just going to be great in a sort of lacy top. I got a few vintage patterns in mind. If that's going to take me forever, I don't know, but as long as it stays to this size, I should be okay with doing it in the distant future anyway. So there's a little sweater quantity there. I realize it must look like a very small sweater quantity, and certainly I'm not the slimmest girl around, but 275 meter per skeins. I think I'll be alright. I think this is plenty. So more vintage blouses happening. So we already got these, and they're not the same color. They're not. So one of the talks that was at the Bergen Knitting Festival was a talk by Dagny. She's called Farge Dagny by us knitters, or anyone really, because her speciality is colors. She does colors for interior designs, and she's very like anti the whole grey white plain look that is kind of what Scandinavian interior design has been known for. You know, it's kind of the clean IKEA look. And she is trying to, you know, make people use colours and use colours right. And she does lots of talks about this. It's really her area of expertise. But then she collaborated with Pickles, the yarn shop and designer team in Oslo. You may have heard about them through Ravelry, because they're quite popular there. Their designs are like very highly ranked. And the Pickles lady worked with Dagny to develop a dress design. It's called the Dagny dress, or Dagny kjolen. And the thing is, you get a yarn kit. You only get that dress pattern in a yarn kit that is chosen for you based on your eye colours, or your complexion really, but mainly your eye colours. And so what we could do there at the yarn festival was get in line and get a skein of that Dagny thought suited your eye colours. So she would stare you in your eyes like proper, I don't know, there's an artist who does that. Anyway, this was to assess our eye colour and what colours would suit our eyes. And I was pretty prepared to get blue, because generally that is what blue-eyed girls are being told. You should choose blue to make your eye colour pop. And I'm like, well, I'm wearing blue today, but generally I don't really wear that much blue. Although it's certainly a goal that I have, because I do think blue is quite flattering and it's a colour that is easy to like. It's probably the main reason I don't wear and knit blue that much, because it's so kind of pleasant and easy to like and just kind of straight. Like, it's very uncontroversial, I think. So I thought, I'll get blue. whatevs. And then she gave me burgundy. And I'm sure I looked really disappointed when I got burgundy because I got Big Fuzz. And it's not like there's anything wrong with Big Fuzz, I just don't know what to do with Big Fuzz. What do I do with one skein of Big Fuzz? So I'm sure I probably looked pretty like sad and disappointed. I was looking at the table with the like pureable skeins that I really wanted. But at the same time I was like, I got burgundy. I love burgundy. Burgundy is my thing. It's like, it was basically just a warmer take of what I was wearing. Well, I was wearing the fleece cardigan, which is mainly grey, but it's got plum colours and stuff. So got a Big Fuzz skein of burgundy. This is my colour now. It's proven. I've been proven that I should be wearing burgundy or something. But I'm wondering if this skein should be a giveaway price or something, because I just don't do this kind of yarn much. But it's great yarn. Pickles is fantastic. That is going to be my first stop when I arrive in Oslo. I will just find that shop and go mad. So Pickles, you guys. And burgundy. So I don't know if there's much else to say about that festival now. It was a great experience. We went up there for one day, me and 2 friends of mine, and met lots of awesome people and just had a good time. I'm quite knackered at the end of the whole thing. And the day after we spent in our pyjamas watching cheesy films, eating pizza and buns and knitting and just being a bit knackered but also having a good time, and it was really nice. The day after I left Bergen. I will miss it. It was really good. I was very happy to be there and meet awesome people. It was actually really funny because I met Ann Myhre of Pinneguri, so you know, she's one of my favorite Norwegian designers. So it's really cool that first she ran into me kind of at the Hillesvåg Ullvarefabrikk. She just saw me and just like gave me a hug, and I was like really cool, and I was a bit knackered after the whole traveling. It was nice, very, very unexpected. And then I was walking around in Bergen on the Friday after the whole wool factory thing, the day before the festival itself, and came across her, granted near one of the yarn shops, so maybe not that shocking, but still. So that was really nice. Went and had a coffee, and then another yarn shop, which was really nice. I forgot the name of it, but I'd been there earlier the day before, and they had just so much nice wool, and they were really, it's a big shop, and they had a sofa area, which I think is really cool and rare for Norwegian yarn shops. And they have lots of yarns from Permin, which I really like. I think when I do more vintage bosses, that sort of cotton wool blend is really going to work out. Anyway, after the whole festival, I actually hadn't seen after that, but then she was sitting at the gate right next to mine at the airport. So yeah, that was really fun. So I met there, and I got a nice little shot of me in my fleece cardigan, so that is that. And yeah, I left Bergen and had a good time, and then spent the rest of my time in Norway with my aunt and uncle. They live in Stavanger. Well, they live in Sola, which is just outside of Stavanger. And I was like, wow, this is close to Sandnes, and there's the Sandnes wool factory from Sandnes Yarns. Can we go? So we went the day after I landed there. They took me there, and some damage was done. First of all, I ended up with this huge bag of pure Tove. I'm going to show you some of these skeins. So that's very noisy. This is their ochre colorway, and I'm just loving it so much. So yeah, Tove skein, just, oh my god, I got plenty of them. I think they are pretty much one of the few yarns that Sandnes do that are 100% Norwegian in production, and the fibre and everything. It's great. So not all of this is Tove. I think some of this is also stuff that I got other places in town. But yeah, it's just like, I just need to add to my mitten stash. This is like, for me, you know how some people say that sock yarn isn't stash? I feel like that about mitten yarn. When I buy Tove, Finullgarn, Ask, PT2, it's not stash really, it's just my mitten yarn. I just need to have some mitten yarns around because that's something I just need to be able to grab. Am I making excuses, or is this true? I don't know. This is just how I feel. But so the thing about when you go to a yarn factory outlet sale, the prices actually there, they were the same. That was a bit disappointing. I was hoping things would be a bit cheaper, but they also had some kind of a misproduced yarns that were heavily discounted, and they had this big, I'm just going to show you. this whole thing of 20 50-gram skeins of grey 100% wool was 200 Norwegian kroner. That is 20 pounds. That is £1 per 50-gram skeins of excellent wool. I keep saying skeins when I mean to say skein. I'm sorry, I've been in Norway, my English is bad. So looking at this yarn, to me it just looks like someone took Tove and spun it a bit too thin. Like, I don't know, just looking at this, it's fine. I don't know why it was sold so much cheaper. It smells cheapier, but maybe that's just because it's been in plastic. Yeah, I don't see anything immediately wrong with this, or why it was sold as just big chunks of blanket yarn. But yeah, they had no information on this. I don't know the meterage. I know next to nothing about this yarn. I don't know how to find out the meterage of yarn even. There's that, but yeah, 20 skeins of this. So I don't know what to do. I could make a blanket for sure, but I could make 2 garments at least. I love wearing grey, although Farge Dagny did say do not wear grey or black. It just makes it look either mean or sad. I just, you know, I know I will end up looking like a grey mouse, but I think grey is really classy as well. Just saying. So there was definitely some damage done at the Sandnes wool factory. Obviously you've seen the Blåfjell yarn already, so I want to say this was the last bit of yarn that I bought, but I did also come across more Huldra yarn. And I had some restraint regret from not buying more Huldra while I was there, because I can knit up one jump and then I'll be out of it. As if that's going to happen so quickly. Anyway, so I got another 3. Because it was actually priced lower in this shop than it was in the wool factory, which is quite surprising. Oh, this yarn is so slick, it's actually coming out of the knot. But yeah, so I got another 3. So there'll be a navy blue vintage blouse as well. So I think that's pretty nice. I didn't tell you much about this yarn besides it being worsted spun. It has 425 meters in its skein, which I think is quite generous. It's recommended to knit on the 32 stitch gauge. I think I could go looser. It's non-superwash after all. I think that would be fine. I could go down to 23 even, 24, and something like that. So yeah, it's called navy blue. That's pretty much all I can say. So this is my Huldra yarn. I just love this yarn so much, and I think both of these colors look okay on me. So vintage blouses are gonna happen. I should just finish the one that I'm working on maybe. Do you remember that? The Eleanor sweater? Just need to get on with it. So that was my visit to Rogaland. If you don't know where Rogaland is, it's south of Hordaland. Hordaland is where Bergen is. Rogaland is where you have Sandnes, Stavanger and Sola. And technically, if you combine the 3 areas, it's bigger than Trondheim. But because these 3 areas are separate and quite far apart, unless you kind of have a car or something, it doesn't count as one. So still, Trondheim gets to be the 3rd biggest. It was a really nice day. It was nice to be with my family who was from the southwest, because I'm not from there, so it's not a place I go as frequently. Nice to see my cousins and their children. I call them children, they're closer to my age, to be honest. And yeah, it's just really good. It was unfortunately a bit sad coming back to London. But I have kind of made a good effort to make sure that my experiences here are as good as can be. So I have been to a couple of yarn events. Before I do that, before I tell you about those, I just want to show you a couple of other things that I did get in Norway that are not to do with yarn, because I think they're quite interesting, even though the stash haul as such is done. First thing I got is this pattern. It's a free pattern from Hillesvåg. It's called Vær Frisk, and it's a shawl. It's a shawl made for pelt wool. So it's the DK weight pelt wool called Tinde. It's just this shawl. That's basically all I can show you without giving you the pattern. I think you can get it online as well. I just thought I'd put that out there. I bought this booklet from Sandnes, which is full of like everyday clothing, thus the name. But there's this one cardigan in here that is color work, and it's just gorgeous, and everybody's knitting it right now in Norway, and I don't blame them, because look at this thing. Just look at that. Can you imagine me using maybe the white Vilje yarn and the yellow ochre yarn from Tove had I just got more of it? Yeah, I just said that. So this thing is just a lot of things in here I would really like to make. I'm going to show you. They usually have a kind of, yeah, there we go. So this is kind of the overview of all the patterns included. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what this contains. And the other thing I got from theirs is a brand new booklet of their annual colorwork cardigan kofte booklets. So they have a kofte booklet coming out every year. Sometimes they call them norske ikoner, Norwegian icons. And sometimes they call them norske klassikere, or just klassikere, meaning classics. And it's just, yeah, full of colorwork cardigans. Again, I'm gonna just save us some time by showing you a little miniature of all the garments. And they actually combined the children garments and adult garments in one booklet this time, which is new. Hopefully that shows, because I can't really see the camera now, but yeah, you get the idea. We can flick through it. I mean, look at that. It is just amazing. And again, they're being rubbish with translations, but I would get in touch with SKD Yarns for any translations and pattern downloads, because they are truly very helpful there, so worth checking out. And lastly, I got some booklets from Husfliden in Bergen. They have one on hacking and one on pioning. And hacking and pioning are kind of the old techniques before knitting, the pre-knitting, knitting in Norway, what people did before. They did hacking and pioning, and I think pioning is something you do with needles and hacking is similar to crochet, and I just want to try them to say that I can do those things as well. It would just be really cool to try. So I just have these, and I'll just pick them up whenever I feel like I want to try something completely new entirely. That was exciting. So yeah, as I was saying about being back in in London, and kind of no, I'm not going to get into that. I've tried to have positive experiences, and one of those things was meeting up with online knitting people who came to London, and one of those people was Becky of the Stringing It Together podcast. That was super lovely. And the other one was Paige, who is Paige the Framer, who has a yarn shop in New Jersey. I don't know why everything is so blue here today. It's just a really grey weather in London, so we're just gonna have to deal with a whole colour scheme. Anyway, it was super lovely meeting them both. And Paige brought me some truly lovely things, and I'm gonna show you them now. The first thing that she got me was this sheep. I don't know, I think she makes these. I don't know, it's like, it's her thing. And they're so cool. And I thought, he's sitting next to the sheep that I bought in Edinburgh now, so they're like sheep pals. Or maybe did I buy this in Wales? I don't recall, but anyway, they are sheep friends. So I got 2 sheep friends sitting in my window. And I got 2 things that I could possibly give away to prize winners. I'll be getting into these more when I have winners announced for the various knit-alongs. So there are some cascade yarns here, which should be perfect for the mittens that I have in my club. There are some lovely project bags and tees. I'm just going to keep them in the packs in case I decide who is getting them. I don't want to like undo the whole thing, and yeah, I want to keep them pristine. So I'm just going to show you that I got these to give away. So thank you so much, Paige. So like I said, Paige has a yarn shop in New Jersey. I am really hoping to go there when I go to New York, because the plan is for me to go to New York after I've been to Vancouver mid-November. And so this is her shop's logo. I think it's fiber and frames or something like that. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that a thing of wonders? I love this. So it's just, yeah, she makes frames and they're great. So truly impressed, and thank you so much. I'm just, yeah, I didn't know what to say, so I was just like, oh my god, I got things. So yeah, I'm gonna put that frame on my wall when I'm a real adult and I'm allowed to actually put a nail in my own wall, because it will be my own and not my landlord's. So yeah, it was absolutely lovely to meet Paige in London, and one of the things that she sells in her shop in New Jersey is Legacy Fiber Arts yarn. And I got a skein, and it's Sweather Weather. And it's on their merino cashmere nylon base, which I believe is similar to a yarn I have that is in compatible shades with this. So there might be, I might have some plans already actually. I can certainly see what I could use it with, which is great. But let's just do a little close-up. I can't believe how dark it just got. It's noon right now. It's so dark in London. It's just really weird. Like the blue shade here, I'm not making that up. Like obviously I couldn't, but oh my god. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Thank you so much, Paige. This is so generous. And thank you so much for just, yeah, making the whole returning to London thing a bit better just by getting visitors, because yeah, it's been very rough. And I think that was the day when I first met Becky and then met Paige. I hadn't actually left my home in more than half a week. I had left my home briefly for going grocery shopping to a shop that's 5-minute walk away. I don't know if that counts. So maybe I hadn't actually left my house in nearly a week. So thank you that for, yeah. And we also went to a knitting meetup there, monthly knitting meetup, knit night in Wild and Woolly in Lower Clapton, and that was so nice. That is always such a treat and an experience, and so lovely. It is the best knit night in London, I'm gonna just say that. So that was just a really nice way to kind of get back into life here. And then after that, I had another positive experience by going down to Brighton last Saturday, because Nikki, who is Clara Peggotty on Instagram, probably mispronounced that, but yeah, you may know her from Amy of Stranded Dye Works, her podcast. She shows up there quite often because they're besties, and she had arranged a kind of knitting day in Brighton. So we'd all come down to the yarn shop Yak, and then we'll go across the road in a pub and just get one floor there for ourselves, where we were just sitting and knitting all day, and we had pub quizzes about knitting, which we won. I won mini skeins, me and my group, on my team. And yeah, it was just such a lot of fun, and we had raffles for winning yarn, and I won yarn as well. I was just really lucky. So I'm just going to show you those things. So these are the mini skeins. So everybody in the group got, I think, 2 mini skeins, which was great because it was such a small group. It's really funny that we won because we were a lot fewer than a lot of the other groups. So we were like, yes, the mini group won. So it was just about knowing lots of knitting things. A lot of things were guessworks about numbers, but then it was also like recognize these designs and recognize these celebrities who knit, and yeah, we won. It's really cool. So I am not very successful at making a close-up of these, so you're just gonna have to believe me that these mini skeins are beautiful, and I have no idea who they are from, but I'm sure Nikki will tell me if I ask. I just, yeah, remember it there. And the skein that I won was from Twisted Finch yarns. So I got this skein. So yeah, I'm like one of those people that are like, I never win anything, and then I just won lots. And I actually got a ball of yarn from Nikki because she's decided to, just like as a small little thing, to start dyeing some rustic merino yarns from Germany. And there's something about rustic merino yarns from Germany that I love. She's got this pile of kind of heavy DK weight yarns that she's dyeing up naturally, and I got to choose one. And then she's going to send me a contrast colour so that I can develop a hat design. Now, I never designed hats before, but hey, I'm working on sweater design, so how hard can a hat be, really? She says, the girl who always gets hats too big or too small. But yeah, it should be fine. I feel like I have managed hats now. I think I've got the hang of it. So I'm going to make a hat design out of Nikki's yarn. So thank you so much, Nikki. I love this ball so much. I think this is really exciting what you're doing with dyeing rustic yarns in natural dye, so I'm excited to see how that turns out. And I want to thank you just for making the whole Brighton experience very positive for me, and also the people who were there who said hello to me, recognizing me from the whole podcast thing. That is always really lovely, and kind of one of those things that keeps me going right now when things are really hard and confusing, and I can't really quite put into words. And I wasn't going to spend too much time in this episode talking about that, because it's not like I have much else to add about aside from saying that things are difficult. So I just want to thank people who are kind of part of making it better, and it's, you know, one of those things that makes me feel really positive about going to Oslo on Thursday and going to Oslo Knitting Festival. And I hope to see so many of you guys there, and because I'm going alone, I really don't have anything planned. I'm just gonna wing it and hope that I run into awesome people. And so far, I mean, that is usually what happens for me. But I think it's time to round up this podcast. This is a very long episode. The last thing I want to say, because I forgot to put it in the beginning even though I had it in my notes, and that is, there is a pattern booklet. I don't know if you heard about the Perth Festival of Yarn. I've talked about it earlier because I really wanted to go this year, but I just couldn't make it fit my schedule, and coincided with a event in my personal life that would have made it very hard for me to go anyway, so regrettably I couldn't. But I've heard tons about it from friends of mine and other knitters that I know that had a blast there, and I think it's a really up and coming yarn festival, so I highly recommend checking it out for next year. But for the time being they have released a pattern booklet. It's called With This Skein, and I have linked to it in my show notes. I'm just checking my show notes and it's there, and it's got a nice collections of shawls and mitts and other accessories. I keep forgetting what they were, but there are pictures of this in the link that I am posting below. And there's even a pair of colorwork fingerless mitts there that I really like, and I think they're probably quite beginner friendly. They look to me like they have very short floats, very short repeats, very memorizable, so that is definitely worth having a look at and getting that booklet. I think it's only £10 for a huge wealth of patterns, and I am very grateful for having been given a booklet, which is why I'm telling you about it as well, because I've had a look through and I think it's really great and nice promotion for Perth Festival of Yarn and the future of this festival, because I think that festival, given how it's been just growing for the past few years, it's really going to be one of the major ones. I think it really helps that it's kind of on the opposite side of the year to Edinburgh, but close enough to Edinburgh that people who can come to Edinburgh could also go there, just at a different time of the year. So that's all I wanted to say for that. And yeah, it's time for me to wrap up my podcast. I'm feeling slightly awkward because I realized I am not home alone, and I've been talking quite loudly on this podcast for quite a long time, so it's possible that my new flatmate thinks I am crazy. So yeah, it's time for me to get something to eat, start editing, get an episode up and clean up all the yarn before I have to travel to go buy more yarn. Anyway, I will see you when I see you. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.